Hey, somebody's asked me to take a look at this tank, see if I could improve the collision mesh for the turret thing up here. So you can see its collision mesh is, well, I would even say that's an approximation. Not quite sure. It may be that some of the other tanks that you got different ones. Maybe that is. Uh, Maybe that does work for some of the others better. But I know from playing War Thunder, you want something a little more realistic. You likely want these things to be closer to the mesh. So I'd already looked at this before, and the J-beam for this thing, um, we can load it in this program, this beam editor. I'm going to load the tank in the blender. Now I can't load the J-beams in the blender, but I can load the tank in blender. And I'll show you something real quick. Import T80 vehicles, and then here is the tank. Import Collider. Now I know from messing with the other things, what I can do is this part here, I can export it as a OBJ onto the desktop. And we don't want to send all of that stuff, just the turret. So in the beam editor, what we'll do is load the J-beam for the turret. Which, if you look for the J-beam for the turret, you'll see it somewhere in here. Turret. I'll drag it and drop it into here. Now you have to use your arrow keys, not the arrow keys, the number keys on the right side of your keyboard for 8, 2, 7, 1, 4, 6. And you got your mouse wheel. Just remember, if you get too close, you'll clip inside the thing, which sometimes you want to see inside of it. Now, for anybody that hasn't made mods before, basically you got the front, which is the green, and the back side, which is red. But if we tab back to the game, you can see now I have collision triangles on, but it's showing me like all the different parts. There is a tank in here that doesn't have a gun on it. It's called Street Legal. Let me load that one. It might can help us visualize a little better. Yeah. So you see the turret thing on the top is exactly what we're looking at in the node beam editor here. See, that would be the front right there. So what we can do, we can import reference mesh from OBJ and go to the desktop and pick that OBJ. Now you can see basically this is how this mesh, how they decided to do this for this, which makes sense to me. Now, one thing you can do for quick edits, if you don't want to have to completely remake something and you just want to adjust a little bit here and there, you can always add new. See, we got the J-beam in here loaded, so when we save this, it's going to reflect in the game what we save in here. When you export from Blender a J-beam, then you got to move the exported J-beam information into the appropriate existing J-beam for that part, like the turret, because all Blender does is just export these little dots, these lines, and these triangles. It's up to you to put them where they go in the actual file, which is, I would never start with something complicated like this. I would start simple. If you're going to make mods, make a Blender box first as a mod, which I made a video on that. In fact, you can do it in under 2 minutes. Alright, so let's do, we got this little add here. See that add? That's add a node. If we add a node, you see where it put it? Put it right there. Now where is that node at in XYZ? That's where it's at, and it called it A0. Let's go back to the 3D view, and you can see that node down there. I can manually type the stuff and say go up 1 meter and refresh. Show nodes. Oh yeah, dumbass. That can't be up there. You just invalidated the mod. Let's copy that to our clipboard and delete it. I forgot to mention, when you work in here, wherever your arrow is at, that's where it's adding something. So this is the turret, and this is the nodes for the turret. Some of these aren't affiliated with a group, but I'm just going to leave the name A0. That way I know it's the one I made. Now let's refresh. Now there's that. See it? There's A0. Now it'd be easier in here, once you get the node, to just say undo select by clicking on that button, and then say next thing I'm going to do is move. So you have to do that, but you got to select it first. So you have to select with this, then hit move to move it. I know it's kind of one of them things, but that's how you do it. And then you gotta play with these keys on the right side of the keypad to get things where you want them. It can be quite frustrating unless you've done this a lot and you're very good with these keys. Now if you clip and you want to get closer, just zoom out. I mean, move back rather, and then zoom in with the mouse wheel. But that makes it get pretty, where just moving a bit moves a lot. So these damn arrows are pretty big. Hard to see that node, isn't it? Oh, that's going to be close enough. Alright, now let's duplicate it. And what it should have did, they made an A0 and there's an A1. We'll move the duplicate up to the top part. Now they got these very specific views, which is probably what I should have been looking in, because they are your traditional 3D Studio kind of views, so that when you're moving these things around, you can better get them where you want them. But that is where I want this. I just have to now this A0 down here at the bottom, we got to select it to play with it. And there can be a delay sometimes, or maybe not. You just have to drag a box and then left click one time and select the button to move it, but it ain't moving it. Is it unselect, select to move? No, that's not what you do. No, you gotta be in this view to do it, and then switch back. That's how you do it. You gotta do it like that. Well, you gotta select it here, begin to move it, then you can go to the quad view and move it like that. I know it's quite well, it's quite frustrating to do. That dang ball there is not where it needs to be. See, it's kind of confusing looking at this. I think this should go here. Let's take another look. Alright, that looks about good right there. Now, you see that TRT4? That node, we gotta connect it to A1. Because as it is now, this thing is not part of this thing. They're just little nodes out here, not connected to anything. If in a simulator, they just fall to the ground. They wouldn't be doing anything. Now, so that's A1 and A0, and these things ain't got to be perfectly lined up. In fact, I'm gonna offset mine so I can find it easier. Now A1, A0, those are the nodes. We have to connect them with beams, and we'll just use the same beam strengths that these beams use. Let's find TRT4, and since we are energy conservationists, we're going to copy this to our clipboard and recycle it. Paste it, because we got the first number, we just need the second one. A1, A1, A1. Now we can refresh, and you see it drew a little line there. We get up close, you can see it connected. That. Now connect it to TRT9 down there. It don't matter which one's first or which one's second. Now that does matter when you're doing triangles, because they need to be done in a counterclockwise numbering method. Like if A0, TRT9, and TRT4 were going to make a triangle, you would start with one, go to the next one, and then go to the next one, and then back counterclockwise. If you go from this one to that one to that one to that one, it's going to make it inside out. That's how it knows. TRT9 to A1. Refresh. Now you see it connected that one to that one. Now A1 to A0. A1 to A0. Like this. A0, A0. You don't have to refresh every time. I am doing it so that if I mess up, I will. I don't have so much to figure out what I messed up. TRT2 to A0. TRT 11 to A0. TRT 11. 11, you say? Yes. So now we got this connected to this, and this to that, and that to this. So you got this here. Yes. Need to connect down to TRT6. How the others are supported. If this is like make a bridge simulator, well, you'd want to support there. That bridge ain't gonna hold, is it? A0 to TRT6. TRT6. Okay. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. We'll do the other side after we verify this side works. No point in doing the other side if this side isn't going to do like we want it to. It's double the work, but may not be happy with it. Now there are no triangles yet. Remember, we just made a node and beam. That's no collision triangle. That's still got to be made. So let's do it this way. Let's grab A0 or A1 and A0, and let's, with them selected, let's move them to here. Now, can you kind of see what I'm doing? Can you kind of see how I'm kind of reapproximating this thing to look a little different? If I can get my camera to go where I want it to go. See what I'm doing there? Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Now, luckily there ain't a whole hell of a lot of triangles on this thing. It's a pretty basic box. And that's what you should do when you make a mod, is make it as simple as you can. Because all these little balls have weight to them. These little nodes. And, well, they all add up. You get a lot of them, can mess up your whatever you're making. So TRT11, TRT9, and TRT2 make a triangle. So we just have to find those. 9. No, I'm sorry. 11. Yeah, 11, 9, and 2. There it is. Now I can just put a dash dash so it'll ignore that line and refresh it, and you can see, in fact, the triangle disappeared. That's what we wanted. Now we're going to get rid of 9, 4, and 2. 9, 4, and 2. And I'm not sure that this will be better than, I don't know that this will be an improvement, so I don't want to delete them and just put a line there. So now we're going to have to make a new triangle. So TRT4, A1, TRT9, that's going to be the first one. And I just copy this and paste it. I would get closer, but there's nothing that I can zoom into this text to make it any larger. So, alright, so like I said, you go in a counterclockwise. We'll start with A1. A1, the next one TRT9, and then TRT4. Be looking at this, because sometimes you can have L's or R's, means left or right, depending on who made this and whatnot. So there's our first triangle. Now I gotta do, well, I think you get the idea. I think you get the idea after one. I would hope so. I would hope one would put you on the path of victory. But your understanding is greatly improving. Ooh, that don't look good at all there. I think I messed up. Yes, I did. Look at that shit. How'd I do that? I wonder. I put the wrong thing in. Yeah. So that's A1. Oh yeah, I put the wrong one in. Yep, there we go. This is particularly a problem when you have a mess up like that. If you have self collisions turned on, self collision is true. So see it there. So yeah, if things are going inside of one another, well, that'll cause a problem. It may just go boom, explode. TRT9, 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 A0, TRT9, A1. A1. No guy named A1. Yeah. Antonio's his name. A0, TRT11, TRT9. Okay, so now what do you see here when you look at this? You see, this is not a triangulated triangle. It is a quad. It doesn't have a, like the others, it isn't made of triangles in that way. Now the triangle's made, but there's no beam there. You know what I mean? There's no beam, so we got to make the beam also. So we'll go back up to the beams here, and we'll grab one of these. See, TRT2 needs to go to A1. We need a beam there. Now we refresh, you'll see what I'm talking about. It made a beam. This not only makes it stronger, well, that's what it does. It makes it stronger. It's like crossbars. I don't know. I'm not good at them bridge simulation games, so I've tried to play them in now that beam must be on the inside. Yeah, it is. It's in there, it's just on the back side. See, there's not a node here, so it's not going to here then to here. It's just connecting the shortest distance between point A and B. And since this is here, and if I were to move this one out, it would fix that. Well, not fix it so much, you could see what I'm talking about. You don't want to put it out there though, because that's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're trying to get this thing close. See, there it is. I knew it was there. And see, really, this thing should have more, probably more nodes. But let's just see how this does. Let's put some more real quick and try it out. Good thing is we can just hit Control R in the game after saving this, and it'll update in real time while the game's running. And if you're ever working on the Lua files, you can Control L to update them right away. Oh. Yeah, I see it. Just making sure it was there. I know it's on the back side, but I'm making sure it did make a line. Which now I'm wondering. Oh, let's just see what this does. Alright, now A1 to TRT11. Let's do it like this. And then TRT4 to A0. Probably should put A1 to A1 also to TRT6. So that top point is now connected also to the bottom. It wouldn't be a half bad idea to connect A1 to TRT10 over there. That would keep it from bending that direction more. I mean, even though these are connected here, really ideally I have one over on the other side too, and then they both connect to one another, and that's be a lot stronger than that would be, or that to that would be. You know what I mean? So that may be what I do last. Let's see how this works. Let's save our file, save JB, and then in the game, let's Control R. And there we go. It's a little better than it was, I think, anyway. Now let's just make sure it doesn't deform really bad or wobble or warp. I think that's alright. I think that's pretty dandy. I don't think we'd need any more supports. Well, probably from a war perspective, we probably would. Like if that gets hit with a round, I'm sure it would need extra support. See, that's where I'm no good at mathematics. I could not begin to tell you how to even figure out how to optimize a tank for the best projectile resistance. I just know it gotta be at a certain angle. Sometimes it helps it. I played a lot of War Thunder. That don't mean I understand the tank construction. Alright, let's get back into here. Things look great. They look splendid. Let's select a 1 and a 0 and let's duplicate those. And then let's move those to the other side. And they put them up there at the top because somebody wasn't paying attention what they were doing. And then, you know, it also made a beam. It connected a beam between the two, which I did not realize that it was going to do that. But that's fine. In fact, I'm going to hit Control Z. I'm going to go one step farther. I'm going to see, well, what if I pick that node, oh, they don't got select beam. I guess, well, alright, let me go to here, because that's where we need to be when we duplicate this thing, so that it puts them there and not up there at the top. Damn, I didn't realize I got that many over there. I got more than oh, I gotta go refresh. Yeah, I had to refresh. Had to refresh it. And that can't go there. That made a beam. See, that's a beam. Those are two beams. Because see, that's not a. We'll just copy that to our clipboard and delete it. Then we'll go down to the beams and throw it in there. I mean, we're going to be using it anyway, so it's not like we don't need it. We do need it. Alright, let's start connecting these TRT 10 to 5. Make a whole lot of room. I hate having to keep doing that. TRT 10 to A5. TRT 10. Oops. TRT6. That's the one down there at the bottom. Alright. Now let's get rid of the old triangles back there. Let's just 10, 12, 5. That's 10, 12, 9. 10, 12, 9 is the front. No, that's not the one we need. We need 5, 10, 12. 5, 10, 4. No. I'm looking at this wrong. Oh, it could be that they're this way. 5, 12, 3. Because I don't see a beam. Oh yeah, I do see it now. Yeah, I was just I was going the wrong. See that beam there? That little right there? See, I thought there was one here. If there is one, I don't see it. So I'm not sure where the triangle was made. Because, well, let's just try to find a combination of these. So 5, 12, and 3. Where is that? It's got to be in here. 5, 4, 5. There it is. No, it ain't. That's 10. 10, 12, 3. Oh, okay, here we go. Alright. 3, 5, 10. That's 4, 5, 10. 3, 5, 1. There it is right there. Right under my nose. I didn't even see it. So let's make a 10, 5, 5. 10, 5, 10. That's a triangle. We need more room. A5 to TRT5 to TRT10. Alright. Now this time, before I put the triangles, let me put the beams so we can definitely see that the beam's there. So we're going to connect A5 to TRT. A5 to TRT12. There we go. Now we got the beam connecting from here to here. Now could I have went from here to here? Yes, I probably will do that too. That makes it even stronger. Because the beams don't weigh anything, the nodes do. So you can add more beams without adding more weight. A4 to TRT5. And TRT3 to A5. Now, which way I do the triangles? Well, I got options. I could do them either way. But we'll do it like this. A4 to TRT3 to A5. So, to purposely show you when you do it clockwise what it'll do. That's inside out. So when that happens, all you have to do is just flip these two. So we'll copy that. Actually, we'll copy that one. We'll type the other one there, then we'll paste this one here. Now it's flipped. That's the right way. TRT12. TRT12 to A5, A5, A5. TRT10. Alright. Now remember earlier I said, well, I can just connect this side to this side when I get it made. So that's what I know this probably, I know for me, it'd probably be irritating me if I have certain OCDs that does irritate me, but then some things don't bother me at all. I think everybody's got stuff that irritates them. This being neat does not bother me. That just takes more time to put that effort into it. There we go. See that connected that to that. Now you see this isn't actually got a node in the middle. Which if it did have a node in the middle, and oh it does. TRT8's down there. But that's down there. I ain't gonna worry about it. That ain't what I'm trying to concentrate on. A4 to A0, and then we'll be done. That'll be good enough, I think. See. Now, no, we don't want triangles under here too. I mean, I guess somebody could if they wanted to. But I'm pretty sure this is going inside the vehicle. And in some of these, you start putting triangles in places where things are going inside of other things. Like I said, that's going to be problems. So this just I guess I could make that better. You know, maybe the person making this thing was at one point actually, those things may already have J-beams. Just because we don't see them don't mean they're not here. I think in fact they are there. They're just something else. Let me just save this and let's update the game with Control R. And we should have us a greatly improved collision mesh. Now I could fine tune this thing. For example, let me hit Control N to see the node names. Now from what I read in reading stuff in the game files, that they did want to make it so there was like a distance that these would draw, because now they just all draw infinitely. But according to what I read, there is a bug related to that, so you gotta see them all, more or less. But it would be good to be able to say only show for like 1 meter in front of me, so when you're doing work here, you ain't gotta be bothered by all them back there, and that's the thing that's kind of annoying. Now I wish they would make these damn things a little bigger, which I understand when you got a shitload of nodes, you probably don't want these texts bigger, but I think these could get a little bigger by 1 times bigger, 2 times bigger, I mean, and change that god awful color. That is too damn vibrant. It almost glows on my screen. Take some of the contrast out of that purple so that it's more like this black text, but make it gray, like a medium gray. Which I guess if it bothered me that much, I could just switch to this mode and just ignore the texture material. I also read they're doing experimental stuff in the files where if a metal node connects to a plastic node, and that node, if a beam is connecting a metal node to a plastic node and that beam breaks, then it'll make plastic debris. I was reading about that. Maybe that's already implemented, and that's some old notes I read. Alright, let's fix this. So like I was saying, that's A4. So I can just move that one manually, like just slide it out. Yeah, see, that's not right. I can look at this and damn tell that's not right. A4 to here. You know, maybe I should do this. Now, the great thing about using this program, it's moving all your beams and everything for you. You don't have to move them to it. If there's a triangle or a node, if there's a node and there's a beam and a triangle, it's moving them all accordingly. See, when you export from Blender, it's just sending out a bunch of numbers, and you still got to adjust them. You still got to take the exported data and put it into the actual J-beam for the part. Whereas this, when you're moving these, it's updating these numbers right away. See, I was just trying to determine what would be the best way. Really, the best way would be have more damn little nodes so that it more closely matches the geometry of the mesh. See, I was just looking at that angle, thinking, well, damn, I could move that node back some. That probably greatly improve the appearance anyway of the collision mesh. God damn it. I don't know if there's hotkeys for that or not. It'd be nice if there was. Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. Let's save it and check it. Yeah. Oops, hit the wrong key. God damn it. I gotta fix that. So I quit making that mistake. See all them damn nodes? It's all in the way. Yeah, likely what I would need is... No, that's the front. That's the front of this thing. See, the barrel's not on there. I'm not sure. I guess I don't want to move anything on the front. I don't know how it's going to affect the other part when it spawns. But I think this would be a good indicator for anyone wanting to modify something like this. Kind of like what I did. I guess I do need to fix this other side so that it matches. See how that's like a more of an angle matching this thing. So let's do that. Let's move it. There we go. Now the thing is, if there are collision meshes for those things, I sure as hell don't see them now. So I don't think there are. There's no nodes or anything for that stuff. And I'm not sure that these things are on all the tanks. So if I start adding stuff like this, and then we load another tank, and it ain't got this stuff on the back, well then that's not going to be okay. But I think this will get us in the ballpark here as far as making a little improvement over that thing. Should I move that out some more? I mean, really, it probably could benefit from having another couple here, and then them pulled out a bit. But then you delete them triangles, and no. I think this will be alright. This is a little better. It's not great. It's a little improvement, though. Let's load the one with the barrel. Make sure that the barrel don't just fall off, that we didn't break something. Oh yeah, it does look like that part's on all of these. Oh, except for that one. But yeah, maybe I'll do that later. Not now though. I got a few other things to work on. I got a lot of other things to work on. Well, that did not sound good. No. What broke? Yeah, I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. It's kind of like my friend. He was working on somebody's laptop. He had the thing taken apart and he put it back together, and I happened to look over and saw his hand. He opened his hand and there was about 3 or 4 little screws, and he had done put it back together. I said, well, it happens. You just put them somewhere so nobody sees them. That gun's gonna fall off of all these, and oh, damn it! I made more work. That'd be more work. I think that gun's gonna fall off again. Oh, no, it didn't. Good. So it's just that one model. Probably because it's got a gun on it, and this one don't. Now, you see these collisions with these things coming through this here. I know you gotta see that. I see it. It's quite visually unappealing to look at. Well, let's see why that's like that. Let's hit Control T to see our triangles, our collision triangles. And what do you see absent here? What do you see? Do you see any triangles? In fact, I'll make it easier. Let's go into the vehicle configure. the vehicle configuration and turn off the mesh. Well, what do you see there? I don't see no collision triangles. And I did see self collisions are on. Now, I don't know if the self collisions are on for this track link. I would think it would be. Now I don't know how much would this snag if it was something for it to rub against. But I do know from looking at these tracks earlier that the way they made them, they're on a rail. Which a rail, think of a rail, think of a conveyor belt. Where these nodes here, they follow a path basically that defines where they go when they remove. Which I'm not going to get into that in this video. But I have messed with that some. So yeah, there's no collision triangle to keep those from not coming through. There is, however, a dandy, very nice collision triangle for this turret now. But maybe tomorrow, yes, tomorrow I will try to make a collision mesh for this thing on the outside so that it will look better. And we'll do it basically the same way. We'll export part of the model as an OBJ and import it into this thing here so that we got it for a guide, and then we'll basically hell, I'll just make the stuff in here instead of trying to make it in Blender and exporting it. Because one thing I've not made many of are videos using this thing. And not everybody likes Blender. I understand that. So this will be an alternative way. Alright, that'll be it for this video. But wait, there's more. More, you say? Yes. Let me show you something here. Let's load this again. This is related to making your own cars. Not that I can make a whole car, but when I was playing around with this thing, I realized there's scripts that you can run, Lua scripts that came with this editor, and one of them is chassis. So when you run that, it makes basically it makes the chassis for you to get you on your way to making a car. I'm like, oh cool, so that's the chassis. Yes, that's the chassis. That's the basic, thing that the axles and everything else connected. So then you can go up to scripts and you can run another Lua script that came with it called Live Axle. And when you run it, you get this option here, and it tells you, well, blah blah blah. You can make the width, the length, and you can even tell the node prefix to be AXL, or you can change it to be something else, maybe letter Z, whatever. If it's a steering axle or not, the height, the length, and create it. And look, it made an axle. Now the axle's not connected to the frame yet. You can do that in here, or you can do that in the game and manually type the stuff in the Notepad++ and let it now you can't load this into Blender and connect them, or any way that I know of, without having to basically make the whole thing. But say you are in here and you want to connect this to the chassis, which the way I read this, when you make wheels, then where you want the axle basically is, so if you visualize a tire here, and that's again where you can go into Blender and you can export just a wheel to put here for reference if you wanted that, or the outline of a car. to use as a guide. But anyway, what I was going to say is connecting these things to these things. I haven't really looked to see what the optimal way is for connecting, um, like that node to that node, that node to that. You know what I mean? I don't know. My damn axle would probably fall off if I connected it now. Would not really messing with it much. Um, so let's spawn another one. Look at that. It missed Beam NG missed me. I got depressed and it closed out on me. Let's let's do a new file. Let me show you the steering axle and then run loose script. Live axle steering. And what that basically did is it made the one with the hydro so that when you steer, it will steer. Oh, wait a minute. That ain't in here yet. And this is not. This isn't the best thing to. Hub wheels, hydros. It's gonna say select first node. I thought it. Choose the first node for the hydro. Well, that would be. I was like, one goes one way, one goes the other way. I forgot which one's what. I forgot what I think. Oh shit! I think it's this to this. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So when you steer left, it pulls this, making that wheel angle that way, and that one pulls that way, making this wheel angle that way. Makes sense. Yeah. There's other things in here which I have not messed with all these reference nodes, thrusters, triangles. Oh, I didn't even realize that was in here. Hell, I manually typed all that shit. I forgot triangles is actually in here. If you're making collision triangles, I forgot. You can simply just add them and connect. It'll say pick first node, pick second node, pick third node. And then you got a triangle. I forgot that was in there. Anyway, that's it for this one. I'm eventually gonna get into more of this. I did try to edit this thing so that it would work with the game by uh, I didn't put the right stuff in because it when I tried to test it in game, like, nothing happened. So that part I don't even know how to do to get that to work. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this. This will be something I get to later because I gotta learn how to make the cars completely, and this is a step that uh, I've been procrastinating, to be honest.